Sometimes we discuss what we want in a January transfer window, but this video is about what we think will happen between now and the window closing at 11 p.m. on Monday. We've just recorded Mug of Tea over on Patreon, so Patreon send in the questions. We chat for over an hour about certain topics. So today we discussed AI in football, the best ever signing at West Ham United, Gonzo being an Indiano, and a whole host of other topics. So if you're a patron, get logged in. It's from
our amateur football careers as well. Let's say that.
Yeah. If you fancy a bit of it, but you're not sure, you can join patreon.com/Hammers Chat, and you can become a mild addict as a trialist. You can get a week's trial, and you'll be able to access Mug of Tea with that. But we're going to kick it off with Luke, who says, with a week left of the window, do you think we will sign a striker? Prediction time.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna predict no. I'm going to predict no. But we've discussed this many times, many times before, and I never quite understood how binary YouTube could be until that time when I think we were doing a cup of tea, and then somebody asked if I preferred Chinese or Indian. And I said, I don't know. That's tough. I said, I had a Chinese earlier on in the week, but I'm having Indian tonight. I don't know. They're really tough. I like them both. And anyway, I picked Indian. And then within a matter of weeks, somebody had said, Gonzo doesn't like Chinese, does he? So that was when I fully discovered quite how binary it was. So my point is, this is close. I think it's close. But I think if I had to bet £1, I would probably bet that it wouldn't happen, Gio. And one of the main reasons for that is because I suspect Potter might be thinking, I can get through this with what he's done with Paqueta, with Bowen coming back, with obviously Somerville coming back as well, and the way he can sort of jiggle things around. I think he might be looking at this saying, hold on, I've survived this far without any. I wonder how much allure there will be for him to think, because I know I'm in little doubt any money we spend in this window will be from next year's transfer kitty, next season's transfer kitty, and or offset with a loan or structured in the same way that the Todibo deal is done. So I just wonder if there's a part of me that thinks Potter may well look at this and think I'm gonna keep my powder dry on this one, and rather than push through a deal that might not be brilliant for West Ham.
I think we won't sign anyone in a permanent transfer, striker-wise. I don't think we'll spend any money on one, but I do think we'll get one in on loan. Now, it's not to say that I'll be happy with that player, or you'll be happy, or the person listening right now will be happy with the choice of that player. And I don't think it will necessarily be the best player available to West Ham. I think we will pick the transfer which has no commitment to it. Because I believe that if Brian Brobbey didn't have an obligation to buy on the end of it, we'd pursue that loan transfer for Brian Brobbey. So I think the reluctance and hesitation from West Ham isn't the player, it's purely the fact that we're going to have to commit to spending up to €30 million in the summer on him, and we don't want to do that. You know, the rumours yesterday were we were going to start bidding for Evan Ferguson, but our proposal was going to be a straight loan. And again, no talk of obligation. We don't want to commit to that. And I think the lack of option to buy in there is just speed things up a little bit if we don't have to negotiate the price and haggle over the price there. Because you'd imagine as well, if you said that, right, and we say, 40 million in, and we're going to go, we were thinking 25. That's quite... That is a lot of negotiating to do. So if you just remove it completely and go straight loan, it can speed the process up considerably. So I think Evan Ferguson on loan would be the priority, is what I feel. And I actually do believe those rumours that have been around for a while, broken by a certain someone, that Andre Silva is the backup. And those claims have been sort of backed up by the German side of reporting. So you've got the West Ham side reporting one thing, which is Andre Silva on loan, backup option, not the number one, but he's there. And then you've got the German side of thing reporting it, saying Andre Silva wants to go to West Ham. He's ready to go to West Ham. So you've actually got two different sides of the transfer reporting the same thing. So I'm kind of led to believe, and I do believe, that there's a deal there for Andre Silva if we want it, and we basically just need to flick a switch. And I think we will do that if we have to. I think we will get someone in. I agree with you. I think Potter and Macaulay will be reluctant to spend the money because it will come out the summer transfer budget. And I'm not going to sit here and say, well, where's the money? Because we spent over 100 million last summer and we were committed to spending 40 million euro on Todibo this summer. If they want to sign Carlos Sola, that's another 20 million thrown into the pot. So I get why the money would have to be brought forward. But, and also, I don't believe what someone suggested, that we've got 57 million to spend on the right striker if he's available. But that might be true. But the ones we've been linked to post John Duran, they're not the right striker, right? Brian Brobbey, Andre Silva, that's not the guy.
Yeah.
The pool of strikers you go after in the summer is completely different to the ones we're going after in the January transfer window. So my prediction, I feel quite strongly about this, is that we don't sign anyone on the permanent transfer for the striker department. However, we get in somebody on loan, and I keep flip-flopping between which one I think it'll be. If we did sign someone, who do you think it's most likely to be? While I make my mind up,
I still think it's well, I believe that like the silver. Well, I better believe the silver rumor. I made it up. Well, I didn't made it up. I didn't invent it. It was told to me. But I think there's probably more desire to get Ferguson in. But I've come to the conclusion you can't be proud to be involved in football. I think I first really noticed it when David Moyes came back for his second stint. I thought, I never really completely understood the fact that David Moyes going back to somebody that had basically deemed that he wasn't good enough and wanted to get rid of him, because David Moyes had always thought during his first stint he did what he was asked, you know. So I always thought there was a certain, on both parts actually, Sullivan and Moyes, there was a certain amount of both having to show a certain level of humility for basically both admit we might have got it wrong. Well, Sullivan has to admit he got it wrong, and Moyes has to swallow his pride and go back and work for a bloke that doesn't really rate him, right? So I think there's a... But even quite recently, if you look at Potter, he pretty much got offered the job back in November. Lopetegui, he's out. And then he wasn't. Like, Lopetegui got a couple of results. And then Potter's had to sit there waiting for it to be sacked. So he can't be... That, you know, you can't be too proud of it. And I sort of think about poor old Andre Silva, a bit like...
Well, even just to add to that, Sullivan didn't want Potter. So
no.
even he's had to swallow pride again and say, well, actually, maybe I'll have him in and see what he does.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So Sullivan's got to swallow his pride. Plus Potter's knowing that actually it's only Brady that wants him and Sullivan doesn't. But he's honestly, it's a bit with this Silva one, this whole thing at the start of the window of going up there is a little bit, I don't know, akin to walking into a bar. The first girl you see saying, look, listen, love, just do you mind? Right. I'm gonna have a little walk around, and if somebody more crumpety doesn't turn up, then are we all right to go home? And yeah, sure, that's fine. And I think like Andre Silva's a bit like, I don't know why I don't know why I'm picturing not Andre Silva. I'm picturing a baby reindeer woman now, but poor fella. Anyway, yeah. You know, so I think it's a little bit unedifying from sitting there go, yeah, okay, if you can't find anybody else that can kick a football, I'll come and I'll play for West Ham.
She's leaning on the bar going, well, good luck, but I warn you, if someone comes in here with a larger piece, I'm off home.
I didn't like your mind. A wiggle was too. Oh, dearie me. There you go. Hopefully that's brought you enough time to think about what you wanted to say.
I haven't decided really. I think the Evan Ferguson one, I've got no doubt that's the preference.
Mm.
But unlike Andre Silva, there's a queue of men at the bar for the desired woman with Evan Ferguson. You can't just say, I'm going to have a look and come back. That woman's gone by the time you get back. Someone nicer has come along and took her away. You go, oh, God damn it. So Silva, you can't leave there probably until the weekend and then go, right, okay, well, that deal.
She stayed at the bar all weekend, not just for the evening. Yeah, okay.
You can ring them up and just say, listen, do you know that deal we did for Silva 2 weeks ago? Is it still on? They're going to go, yeah, come get him, will you?
He's pretty much.
But you don't get that with Brighton. I think you get one negotiation with them and you've got to get it right. And, you know, to some extent, I actually think I will criticise West Ham where I feel criticism is fair. But with Evan Ferguson, I feel like Brighton hold all the cards and power in this one. At the start of the window, said we're not deciding anything until the end of the window, so go away. And they've stuck to it. It's 29th of January. I would argue that report has been true. Now, it does coincide with Evan Ferguson getting injured, so he couldn't go anywhere anyway.
It does.
But the Brighton's claims were end of the window. We're at the end of the window, so that's true. However, they're open to permanently selling him. Well, if Leverkusen sell Boniface, they might want to buy him. So that sort of eliminates us completely to some extent. It's like, well, Leverkusen are going to offer 35 million. What you get? Well, straight loan. We can't really win there to some extent. So we've played the Brighton game. We made the offer as and when we can. But ultimately, I think Leverkusen are the ones that are at the front of the race. And it's depending on if the Saudis want Boniface over John Duran. So there's a few cards need to fall in our favour for us to get Evan Ferguson. I think it's almost out of our control to some extent. Whereas Andre Silva and Brian Brobbey, I think Brian Brobbey's in our control, but we've just got to agree.
He's at the bar as well.
But we've got to agree to their Ajax's selling conditions. And one of our subscribers made a really good point in regards to Brian Brobbey, which was Graham Potter was heavily linked to taking a job at Ajax, so much so that negotiations took place before Potter decided he didn't want it. And you would assume, and I think it's a fair assumption, that Potter would have at least evaluated the Ajax squad. And therefore
he did before joining West Ham.
Yeah, I don't know. Potter would have had the power. I seen that meeting between Tim Steidten and Graham Potter, and there was no evidence of a PowerPoint presentation. There was no.
Wasn't even a
no
cup
laptop.
Of coffee.
There was no screen getting pulled down. Nothing. Right. There's no schmoozing. Talk.
That's why. I reckon that's why Tim went. If Tim had come along with like a hot chocolate with sprinkles and like a Biscoff biscuit, Potter might not have forced him out.
Maybe Potter came into the hotel and said, "Look, Scarf Man, you sit there. I'm going to have a look around the room, and there's no better clubs. I'm going to come back to the chat.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to go see if there's any other technical directors in the room that fancy to chat with me first."
He found one. He got his old one. He got his old one back, didn't he?
Yeah, Kyle was there hovering around at the bar in Essex. But I've lost my train of thought now. What was I saying?
Oh, it's just something to do with Evan Ferguson.
Potter would have evaluated the Ajax squad. He might have a bit of an idea about Brian Brobbey. A subscriber made that. That's not my point. That's someone else's. But I liked it. I agreed with it. John, well done. I agree. That's your opinion coming out of my mouth there. So my prediction, Gonzo, we signed Andre Silva on loan. And I think the reason I'm predicting that, not Andre Silva.
Andre. That's from us doing our video, looking back at old players. Yeah. That would be crikey. Talk about 2 steps back.
Who did you know we sold to Nottingham Forest?
I did.
I think we signed Andre Silva on loan because we've walked around the room, can't pull a fit bird, and we're going to go back to the baby reindeer one. She's coming home.
Cheap date.
Because just like in Baby Reindeer, he eventually went round there for his beef curtains